and welcome back to Ghosted, Gagged and Gay, the podcast where we talk about queer dating, love, relationships, heartbreak, mental health, and everything in between. For the new listeners, I'm your host, Lone, a gay relationship coach and rapid transformational therapy practitioner. I help our rainbow hearts to tackle the limitations that stop them from reaching the love life they truly want, starting with the relationship with ourselves, because that's where everything starts. If you're interested in learning more about the program, you can visit my website. Like rainbowjourney.co, or you can book a free call with me and we can discuss and explore the different options and whether we can work with each other or not. For today, I would actually like to read a Grindr story that was submitted to me through social media, and I would like to read the story because it happens a lot. It happened to me, and I'm sure it happened to so many other people. And then I would like to discuss how that kind of events affect the relationship with ourselves, and then the relationship with dating and with other people. So it's actually a funny story. So it's it's kind of funny. It's kind of like a karma story, or yeah. I'll dive right into it. So it starts with, so boom, I match with this guy on Grindr. We start chatting, and the chemistry is insane. It happened to so many of us. Funny, smart, fast replies. The conversation is flowing so well that at some point I'm thinking, wait, do I love this man already? And mind you, we hadn't even exchanged pictures yet. Hours of chatting later, we finally decide, okay, let's swap pics. Tell me why this man sends his picture and suddenly my spirit left my body. Crying face emoji. Like, yo, he was just not my type at all. Not even a little bit. After that, I started replying dry, one word answers, replying after 45 business days. The energy completely changed. This man could feel this too, because eventually he asked, what's up? You changed. And instead of lying, I just told him straight, you're not my type. Then I blocked him immediately after, afterwards. Heartless, maybe. Dramatic, absolutely. But at least I was honest. Anyway, so let's stop here a little bit. So it happened, right? It happened to so many of us, so many of you. Um, you have this intense connection, insane connection. You chat, you chat, you chat. Then something happens, a picture, a dick pic, anything happens. And then you're like, mm, not my type. And then here, of course, people react differently. Some people say it, some people don't say it, some people just disappear, ghost, whatever. Anyways, let's continue the story. Then a few weeks later, I go for a job interview. I walk into the boardroom, sit down, look up. Why is this man sitting on the interview panel? Suddenly, I realized why the face looked familiar. He didn't even say much during the interview, just sitting there looking at me like, interesting. Meanwhile, his colleagues are asking questions, and I'm sweating, fighting for my life because I know he recognized me. My full name, and picture were on the CV too. So there was no escaping it. Interview actually went well though, but yeah, I did not get the job. And this story was titled The Grindr Rejection That Cost Me a Job. So it's funny, right? I mean, I guess this last part of the story didn't happen with so many of us. Hopefully not. But I'm sure it happened. But the first part, like the first half of the story, it happened, I'm sure, with everyone who has been on Grindr. Um, and I would just like to explore this. So, just as a side note, I'm not like fully against hookup apps, and it depends on how you use them, how they affect you, on the type of personality you are, on how well you can like detach your self identity from this, or like how much reassurance you usually need or not need from like externally. So there are so many factors, but in general, I am not pro hookup apps because they really affect, like they really go hard on your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So, for example, with this story, let's first of all let's talk from the narrators, or like from the like the perspective of the person who wrote the story. So they had this emotional roller coaster, right? Like first of all, it was going really good, and then there was a tipping point, and then boom, suddenly it's like, as he mentioned, like his spirit left his body or something like that. So what happens there? You have this emotional roller coaster from his side also, right? So there's this emotional roller coaster, because like it's when you're like talking with a person, like if you meet someone in real life and you're interested in them and you start talking, there's like this natural buildup of events, right? Like you you like their looks, you're attracted to them, you find them fun, you like their vibes, right? Like vibes matter too. And then you approach them, you start talking, the conversations start building up. So it's like more natural, right? You don't have this, I mean, it could happen in real life too that you like during the conversation, you stumble upon something completely off-putting and then you completely lose interest in this person, right? It could happen, but I'm just saying, like, it's a little bit easier because usually your intuition also plays a role in this, like the attraction, the conversations, everything. So usually it's less common that this happens in real life than on dating apps, I mean. So this roller coaster is not healthy, right? Because if it happens a lot, then you get used to it. Your brain starts wiring like, okay, this is normal, like this happens. And your brain gets hooked on this roller coaster, right? And then if something actually nice happens, then maybe you lose interest still because for you, this is not so like intriguing anymore. Like there's no roller coaster, right? So there's only going up, 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 and at some point maybe you get used to the up, 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 and then you're like, okay, where's it down? And then you start with maybe the self-sabotage, or like you lose interest and then you do this again, even if the connection is great, even if you're attracted to this person, it could happen, right? Not with everyone, but it could happen. So this is from the person who rejects. So that's one side. But on the other side, the person who gets rejected, which is, or like AKA all of us, we all got rejected on hookup apps. And unfortunately, most of the rejections, they don't happen in a nice way. They're not like, hey man, sorry, I'm not interested, you're not my type, or like, I'm just not interested and I wish you good luck, or happy hunting, whatever. Some people do that, right? Um, then it's okay. Like, of course, it's not very okay because the rejection is based merely on a picture, right? Just one picture, or two, or three, or five, whatever. But it's not really based on who you are because usually it's different. Like when you meet someone in real life, like the vibes play a role, the way you talk, the way you move, the way everything. Like so it's like a combination of factors in real life, and here just pictures. So of course, like like many of us take it a bit personally, even if we try not to take it personally, even if we get used to this, but a small part of us maybe still takes it personally. And when it happens like 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 50 times, 100 times, then maybe your brain starts believing it like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with me, right? So, first of all, that's the rejection, right? But the thing that makes it even worse is a rejection without closure. Even if it's been like a 5 minutes conversation, right? But when you get ghosted, like so many people ghost or just block or anything, um, or become really cold, and they hope that the other person will get bored and like leave the chat. So but all of that really like leaves a mark on your self-esteem and self-worth. And it makes it such a toxic thing, right? Like, I mean, in this case, karma played the role, like was kind of instant um karmic debt paying whatever. So in this case it happened, but usually like most of the time it doesn't happen like that, right? And then you just go to the next connection and you get rejected and you go to the next connection and then something like so my coaching or like the therapy method that I also incorporate in my coaching, um, it really like relies on neuroscience. So a in neuroscience, like for like if you repeat something, like if it's a thought or a habit that you repeat on a day, like almost daily basis or very frequently for a certain amount of time, like if it's daily basis, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if it's more like less than daily but still very frequent, then over like some time, like prolonged period of time, then it goes into your subconscious mind. It become you absorb it. It becomes part of how you think, right? So when you get it becomes like a habit. It becomes something familiar to you. So when this becomes familiar, this is the tricky point because you start really approaching connections that will lead to the same end. And slowly, subconsciously, you could start losing interest on what is actually real and attainable and healthy, right? And then you love the drama, right? Like then you would enjoy the drama, you would enjoy keeping tabs on like 100 people and them canceling, and then the ups and downs, the roller coaster. Again, talking about the roller coaster. So I talked a lot about it in other episodes. So please, if you wanna dive deeper into like roller coaster, being attracted to emotionally unavailable men, especially, then please like there are specific episodes for that. But I just wanted to share this story with you and just talk about this side of hookup apps and why I'm against them. But it's also a funny story, right? Um, I yeah, I wish there was like more to it, like a continuation. But I would like to actually share stories like that. So even if you don't want to come up on screen and talk like on camera and talk with me and discuss like your story, you can just submit it to me on my email. It's like Lonay at rainbowjourney.co. So you can submit the story and I will read through it and share it with people. So discuss it, talk about the side effects of whatever happened, or just share it for laughs, for advice, for tips, anything you need. You can also specify what you want from sharing a story, or if it's just sharing a story. Um, yeah, so one thing to before we end the conversation, one thing to like remind everyone of is to be kind with each other. Like we we already have a lot of hate from outside, from like people who are not accepting, who are not understanding. Um, we already have that. We have to stick together, even on hookup apps. You know, we are lucky. to have these hookup apps, to have these dating apps that connect us together. In many countries that this is legal still, and even in illegal, like in countries where this is illegal, it's a way for us to connect with each other, right? And to gain like closeness, to gain intimacy, to meet people like us. So let's not ruin it. Let's not ruin it by being mean or like cruel. And so I know, so there is the saying like hurt people. So I know usually even if we do something mean like ghosting or something like that, not many like or not everyone, but many of us, even if we do something like that, it doesn't come from bad intentions. It just comes from like toxic conditioning, toxic because we reject ourselves in the first place, right? We're used to this, so it's so easy for us to reject others in the most like the most like how do you call it? Brutal ways, right? Because we first like in the first place we reject ourselves in the most brutal ways. So just try to remember to be kind to yourselves and to each other because that's really we have to stick together. We have, especially in these difficult times, politically and everything. So many countries are going backwards when it comes to LGBTQ rights. And I just hope that we can stick together because there might be a time where we need this bond even more than ever before. So even if it's just about a hookup in a hookup app, one night stand, whatever it is, just remember, like, be kind, even if you want to reject, just be kind. Like, it's okay, be kind. Just say, it takes one sentence, right? It doesn't take forever. You don't have to have a conversation about why and whatever. You can just say, like, simply, not my type. I remember, like, when I started realizing these things and started to get annoyed by like these apps, then I started writing people like something like, hey, sorry, nothing personal. You look amazing, but it's just not like you're just not my type. Um, as I am not everyone's type, right? So I used to write at the end, I used to write something like that. I mean, some people found it weird on the apps because they're not used to it, right? Um, or some of them they start getting defensive like yeah man like you don't have to have a conversation with me about it, like you can just say not interested and that's it. But I'm like, you know what, shut up. Like, take the kindness when you get offered that. So I'm not saying I didn't. I ghosted. I did all of that, but it was a learning process. And of course, because we all, like not all, but many of us start there. Like that's the first, also a sad part. Like a lot of us, we start on apps like Grindr. Like when we start dating, after we come out, or even before coming out, when we're still like gathering the courage to come out or exploring this side of ourselves, we start with these apps, and this is very, very damaging. Like, I can't believe the amount of insecurities that I had to tackle, not just because of my childhood conditioning or the suppression or whatever. It's a lot of things like just became even worse because of the hookup apps. So yeah, but even if we cannot change that completely, people start with hookup apps, people go for hookup apps, it's fine. But, even if you want to do it, try to adjust a little bit so that it's not as damaging anymore. And maybe one day it becomes a healthy hookup app. Who knows? Anyways, thank you for listening, and I will be coming with more stories. And by the way, sorry for disappearing for a while. I was on vacation and I had some personal dramas and I just like disappeared a bit, but the podcast continues. I might do it a little less frequently just for the next few weeks, but soon I'll come back more frequently as promised, like once a week. So please, if you want to come with me and to have a conversation on camera and discuss whatever you want to discuss, um, send me a message. on my website, there is a form. You can just book immediately a call with me, and then we can explore what we want to do. There's a form you can fill, you can send it to me, you can send me an email. Like there are so many ways of communicate contacting me. So please use anything you want. And yeah, share your story with me or just submit your story with me to me. So then until next episode, please take care, be kind to yourself and to each other. And thank you again for being here and listening to this episode. Until then, bye bye.